Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, is a man I'm so proud to call my friend, Ralph Peters, Fox News strategic analyst, author of Hello Richmond. Of course, a man who has served his country so proudly. And Colonel, always great to talk to you, sir.
Hi, Steve, I'll tell you, I'm always glad to talk to you. But today, I wish that instead of me, you could have Bergdahl's comrades from Afghanistan, the people with whom he served and whose trust he apparently betrayed. Because if you're following the internet at all and the military blogs, I have never seen our military so outraged by the attempt by this administration to portray Bergdahl as a hero.
And what do you think is behind this? I mean, and first, let me ask you this first, possibly. Why did they? Is it common for those soldiers you're talking about, many of whom had to sign non-disclosure forms, not to talk about this this disappearance, this case at the time? How common is that?
I had never heard of that before. I was shocked when the military did it. I mean, they were from the start. I mean, I can tell you because I had a lot of back-channel communications back and forth. And early on, the brass knew exactly what happened. They pegged him as a deserter, but they said they wanted to me. They told me they wanted to spare his family and et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, I'm all for sparing people's families. But let's put this in perspective. He is alleged to be a deserter. His comrades with whom he served are convinced he is a deserter. We know for a fact that 6 honorable American service members died trying to find and free him. And I think, like, you know, I was certainly outraged, and I know the military people were outraged, to see our president go for a cheap photo op. And instead of having a quiet event with the families of the fallen warriors who died trying to free Bergdahl, instead of that, the president does this love fest with Bergdahl's nutcase family, his father, who is on record as saying he wants the other Taliban members from Guantanamo freed. I mean, that's not a ZZ Top beard, dude. That's looks a lot Taliban to me. But whatever. The bottom line is, I am personally glad for his family that Bergdahl is home. I am appalled at the administration, the president, Susan Rice, coming right out and calling this guy a hero. And I think what the military members on active duty are afraid of is that there will be a whitewash, and you know that this guy is going to be allowed to go with an honorable discharge and lifelong benefits, and we'll forget the people that died, we'll forget what he did, et cetera, et cetera. And I think people just want him to face military justice. They don't necessarily even want him to go to jail. 5 years of Taliban hands is pretty ugly. But they don't want him treated as a hero, and they want him to get a dishonorable discharge and lose his benefits. And, you know, he's going to get a book deal. He's going to get a movie deal. He can pay for his own medical care. So glad he's home, but make no mistake, Bergdahl is not a hero. And although to the left he certainly is, because he's perfect, and Obama's tuned into that. For the left, this guy, hey, he apparently, allegedly deserted because he was disgusted with the war effort. And, you know, that's right up the left's alley. And, you know, what really bothers me deeply, Steve, is that we all know Bergdahl's name. How many of your listeners can name one recipient of the Medal of Honor from Afghanistan or Iraq?
No, you're absolutely right. And you know, the question as to whether or not he deserted, we know for a fact, it's been reported that he emailed his family and said he was ashamed to be an American at the time he left. He criticized his military officers and some of the military members around him. And getting back to the father, I don't know what that message meant, that he mostly admires about his son, the lengths to which he was willing to go to help the Afghan people, and I think you've succeeded. The father,
he's talking about the 5 guys being released.
Yeah, because the father tweeted and reportedly and had it erased. One guest suggested it was probably at the urging of Obama at that White House meeting, that the goal is to get all the Gitmo prisoners released and that God will avenge the death of every Afghan child. Plus, he praised Allah in the Rose Garden, according to Daily Caller's translation of what he said in a message to his son.
Yeah, well, you know, hopefully God will punish the death of every Afghan child, because it's the Taliban and Al-Qaeda that's been killing them. I mean, this is just so sad. And the president, he has nobody in his circle who served in the military or understands military. So they're tone deaf. And they really assumed that they could get away with, well, they brought Bergdahl home and, you know, they could portray him as a hero and get cheap points. and it's backfiring on the president. It's a good thing. But much bigger than Bergdahl is what the president's done to endanger Americans. I mean, his release of these 5 top dog, top gun terrorists who never should have been back on the street, his release of them has told the world 2 things. One, to every country in the world, it's okay to negotiate with terrorists because America does it. And 2, dear terrorists, if you want to free a terrorist prisoner, take Americans hostage. And we are going to see attempts to take Americans, to kidnap Americans. Some will probably botch attempts to kill Americans. I mean, and Hagel, poor Hagel, who's lost and confused. This guy tried to say that, well, we didn't really negotiate with terrorists.
Right, and it's not going to encourage others kidnappings. Yeah.
Look, come on, guy, and we're not that stupid. So look, glad Bergdahl is going to be back with his family. Don't treat him as a hero. And Mr. President, thank you for endangering Americans for decades to come.
Yeah, no, I couldn't have said it better. And one other thing, the not notifying Congress within 30 days prior to transferring prisoners out of Gitmo. The White House today said Congress should not be surprised by this. We didn't have 30 days to wait. When we've heard from David Ignatius and others that this is a deal that Leon Panetta turned down. This has been in the works and talked about for four years.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line in the deal, the Taliban demands never changed. We caved. And it's because Obama has been suffering so much, with the VA scandal, the IRS scandal, the Obamacare scandal, the Benghazi scandal. His guys, it's very much like the thing with the Benghazi video where they thought they could pass it off to the American people as all calls caused by a video. These guys, without thinking strategically and thinking long term, thought, oh, gee, well, we can turn the headlines around and get a good news story up there. And to me, it's just disgraceful that, again, our president didn't invite any families of the veterans who died because of the Veterans Administration wait list. He didn't have them at the White House.
Yeah.
He didn't have these parents of the young men who died trying to find and free Bergdahl. Instead, he has Bergdahl's nutcase family and tries to make Bergdahl a hero. Again, stress. I can't stress too much. I'm glad for his family's sake the guy is home, but he now needs to face the military justice system, and it's a very fair system, much better than the civilian system. And they'll decide whether there's evidence that he was the deserter or if he was just absent without leave, which is a lesser charge, and then they can go to court-martial, or he can plead out. And my recommendation, the best way to solve it would be to, if he is found guilty, he's suffered enough. He's probably suffered some very intimate, ugly violence at the hands of the Taliban during his captivity, given their proclivities. Look, the best thing would be he gets a dishonorable discharge, no benefits, but any jail time is commuted by the Secretary for the President. I mean, everybody could live with that. But right now, our military, don't take my word for it. All you listen is check the military blogs. I've never seen people so angry that honorable soldiers are being insulted by trying to make Bergdahl a hero. And again, the president and his paladins are so tone deaf on this. They just don't understand how important it is to military people that this guy is alleged to have been a deserter. I mean, it's such a fundamental betrayal. But concepts such as duty and honor, nobody in Obama's circle understands that kind of stuff.
Yeah, all right.
It's all about gaming the system.
Let me take it to the conversation we had last time you were on, and that was pre-Shinseki resignation. I know that you spoke out in his defense, saying he wasn't the problem and he should not go. What was your reaction to when the president reluctantly, regretfully, I think he said, accepted the resignation of General Shinseki?
Well, again, the president and Congress wanted Shinseki gone as a scapegoat. And you see, the headlines have gone away now. Shinseki's gone, and now they've got some breathing room through November. But make no mistake, the president has not been supportive of our vets, except rhetorically. But be fair, Congress and both parties in Congress had the duty for the oversight of the Veterans Administration, for the funding, for civil service reform so we could fire bad actors, for information technology procurement, and Congress, members of both parties, just didn't even bother attending the VA hearings. I mean, it's just astonishing. And Shinseki was trying to fix it, and the people we should have fired were Congress. I mean, it's just amazing to me how we humiliated an honorable man who was doing his best and let the scoundrels get away with it. And when I tell people, I tell vets, look, fight with your congressman or senator right now for change, because after the November elections, they're going to forget you again.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's unfortunate. It's terrible. And whether it's giving them a card that they could go to any hospital with, as has been suggested. But what really annoyed me was when the president, and he keeps saying this, is the waiting list is one thing, but when they do get in the system, when they do get to see a doctor, then they got great service. Everybody will tell you they love their service. They love the treatment they get. May or may not be true, but how do you kind of, some people died, but the ones who get to see a doctor, they love it. I mean, how do you overlook that almost?
Well, I'm not in the VA system. I'm in the TRICARE system, another military medical program. But I have to tell you that, honestly, of all the veterans I know who are in the VA system, they're overwhelmingly either content or quite happy with the care they get. The care has improved much over the decades. The problems we have are that there aren't enough doctors, because Congress expanded the VA mandate for treatment without expanding the number of doctors in adequate numbers. And plus, there's a wave of aging Vietnam vets who need more care. And the wonderful soldiers and Marines and Navy corpsmen and airmen from our recent wars who were badly wounded, many of them would not have survived in previous conflicts, not even in Desert Storm, let alone Vietnam. But miraculous modern medicine has kept them alive, but they need a great deal more extensive and intensive care. So the demands on the system have been increasing dramatically, and Congress hasn't been increasing the funding and the oversight and changing civil service rules adequately. But of all my friends, we all go back and forth on these issues, and there are two of my veteran friends who are unhappy with the VA. They weren't unhappy with medical care. They were unhappy with the admin. That was a problem. The wait times. The one guy couldn't get his prescription fixed, even though he had documentation that kept giving him the wrong prescription. Yeah. Another guy couldn't get timely appointments. But on the other hand, I have a dear friend who had serious throat cancer, and the VA took really good care of him, and he's cured. Once you're in the system, it works pretty well. The problem the guys in Phoenix had was those corrupt scumbag administrators who weren't getting them into the system.
Yeah, well, that's encouraging, at least to hear from you, someone who knows that the president's right on that. I just took exception to him. We're out of time, unfortunately, Ralph. But hey, listen, God bless you. Great to talk to you, and we look forward to talking to you again.
All right, keep up the good work.
All right, you too. Ralph Peters, ladies and gentlemen. All right, folks, we're coming back with the Malzberg panel. You know it. You love it. You got to have it. Don't go away.